Mongol Empire. The Mongol Empire of the 13th and 14th centuries was the largest contiguous empire in history. Originating in present-day Mongolia in East Asia, the Mongol Empire at its height stretched from the Sea of Japan to parts of Eastern Europe, extending northward into parts of the Arctic, eastward and southward into parts of the Indian subcontinent, attempted invasions of Southeast Asia, and conquered the Iranian plateau, and westward as far as the Levant and the Carpathian Mountains. Over by Ming forces. The Genghisid rulers of the Yuan then retreated north and continued to rule the Mongolian plateau. The regime is thereafter known as the Northern Yuan dynasty in historiography. The Golden Horde had broken into competing khanates by the end of the 15th century and was defeated and pushed out of Eastern Europe in 1480 by the Grand Duchy of Moscow, while the Chagatai Khanate lasted in one form or another until 1687. Name. The Mongol Empire is also referred to as the Mongolian Empire or the Mongol World Empire in some English sources. The empire referred to itself as Yek Mongolulus, lit. Nation of the Great Mongols or the Great Mongol Nation, in Mongol or Kur Ulu-Ulus, lit. The Whole Great Nation, in Turkic. After 1260 to 1264 succession war between Kublai Khan and his brother Erik Bok, Kublai's power became limited to the eastern part of the empire, centered on China. Kublai officially issued an imperial edict on December 18, 1271 to name his realm Great Yuan, Dai Yuan, or Dai on Ulus, and to establish the Yuan dynasty. Some sources give the full Mongol name as Dai on Yeha Mongol Ulus. History. Pre-Empire. The area around Mongolia, Manchuria, and parts of North China had been controlled by the Khitan-led Liao dynasty since the 10th century. In 1125, the Jin dynasty founded by the Jurchens overthrew the Liao dynasty and attempted to gain control over former Liao territory in Mongolia. In the 1130s the Jin dynasty rulers, known as the Golden Kings, successfully resisted the Khamag-Mongol Confederation, ruled at the time by Kubul Khan, great-grandfather of Genghis Khan. The Mongolian plateau was occupied mainly by five powerful tribal confederations: Khanlag Karates, Khamag-Mongol, Naiman, Murjid, and Tatar. The Jin emperors, following a policy of divide and rule, encouraged disputes among the tribes, especially between the Tatars and the Mongols, in order to keep the nomadic tribes distracted by their own battles and thereby away from the Jin. Kabul's successor was Ambagai Khan, who was betrayed by the Tatars, handed over to the Jurchen, and executed. The Mongols retaliated by raiding the frontier, resulting in a failed Jurchen counterattack in 1143. In 1147, the Jin somewhat changed their policy, signing a peace treaty with the Mongols and withdrawing from a score of forts. The Mongols then resumed attacks on the Tatars to avenge the death of their late Khan, opening a long period of active hostilities. The Jin and Tatar armies defeated the Mongols in 1161. During the rise of the Mongol Empire in the 13th century, the usually cold, parched steppes of Central Asia enjoyed their mildest, wettest conditions in more than a millennium. It is thought that this resulted in a rapid increase in the number of war horses and other livestock, which significantly enhanced Mongol military strength. Rise of Genghis Khan. Genghis Khan, born Temujin in 1162 in Mongolia, rose from humble beginnings to become the founder and great Khan of the Mongol Empire. His early life was marked by adversity, as he faced the death of his father and the betrayal of his tribe. Through a combination of military prowess, political acumen, and strategic alliances, Genghis Khan united the Mongol tribes under his leadership in the early 13th century. Genghis Khan's military campaigns were characterized by innovative tactics, disciplined armies, and ruthless efficiency. He conquered vast territories across Asia, creating one of the largest empires in history. The Mongol Empire stretched from Eastern Europe to the Sea of Japan, encompassing China, Persia, and much of the known world at the time. Genghis Khan's leadership was not solely based on military might. He implemented administrative and economic reforms that contributed to the stability and prosperity of his empire. The Pax Mongolica, a period of relative peace facilitated by Mongol rule, allowed for cultural exchange and trade along the Silk Road, connecting East and West. However, Genghis Khan's death in 1227 marked the beginning of the fragmentation of the Mongol Empire. His descendants, known as the Yuan dynasty in China and the Golden Horde in Eastern Europe, continued to expand the empire, but internal strife, succession disputes, and external pressures eventually led to its decline. The Yuan dynasty faced challenges from within and without, including social unrest, economic difficulties, and resistance from Chinese ethnic groups. In the West, the Golden Horde faced invasions from the rising power of the Ottoman Empire and internal conflicts among the Mongol nobility. By the late 14th century, the once mighty Mongol Empire had disintegrated into separate khanates and dynasties. The Ming dynasty replaced the Yuan dynasty in China, and the Ilkhanate in the Middle East succumbed to internal strife and external threats. The legacy of Genghis Khan endured, as the Mongol Empire's impact on trade, culture, and geopolitics left an indelible mark on world history. The end of the Mongol Empire signaled a shift in global power dynamics, with emerging regional powers and the beginning of a new era. Conclusion: Genghis Khan's life and the Mongol Empire's rise and fall are a complex tapestry of conquest, innovation, and cultural exchange. The empire's decline was a result of a combination of internal factors and external pressures, ultimately shaping the course of history in the regions it once dominated. Known during his childhood as Temujin, Genghis Khan was a son of a Mongol chieftain. As a young man he rose very rapidly by working with Togrul Khan of the Khanate. The most powerful Mongol leader at the time was Khanate. He was given the Chinese title, Wang, which means king. Temujin went to war against Khanate, now Wang Khan. After Temujin defeated Wang Khan he gave himself the name Genghis Khan. He then enlarged his Mongol state under himself and his kin. The term Mongol came to be used to refer to all Mongolic-speaking tribes under the control of Genghis Khan. His most powerful allies were his father's friend, Kharid chieftain Togrul, and Temujin's childhood Anda, i.e. blood brother, Jamukha of the Jadran clan. With their help, Temujin defeated the Merkit tribe, rescued his wife Borte, and went on to defeat the Naimans and the Tatars. Temujin forbade looting of his enemies without permission, and he implemented a policy of sharing spoils with his warriors and their families instead of giving it all to the aristocrats. These policies brought him into conflict with his uncles, who were also legitimate heirs to the throne. They regarded Temujin not as a leader but as an insolent usurper. This dissatisfaction spread to his generals and other associates, and some Mongols who had previously been allies broke their allegiance. War ensued, and Temujin and the forces still loyal to him prevailed, defeating the remaining rival tribes between 1203 and 1205 and bringing them under his sway. In 1206, Temujin was crowned as the Khagan, emperor, of the Yek Mongol Ulus, Great Mongol State, at a Kurultai, General Assembly/Council. It was there that he assumed the title of Genghis Khan, universal leader, instead of one of the old tribal titles such as Gur Khan or Tayang Khan, marking the start of the Mongol Empire. Early organization. Genghis Khan introduced many innovative ways of organizing his army, for example dividing it into decimal subsections of arbans, 10 soldiers, zuns, 100, minghans, 1,000, and tumans, 10,000. The keshig, the imperial guard, was founded and divided into day, korchin torguds, and night, kevchul, guards. Genghis rewarded those who had been loyal to him and placed them in high positions, as heads of army units and households, even though many of them came from very low-ranking clans. Compared to the units he gave to his loyal companions, those assigned to his own family members were relatively few. He proclaimed a new code of law of the empire, Ikzasig or Yasa. Later he expanded it to cover much of the everyday life and political affairs of the nomads. He forbade the selling of women, theft, fighting among the Mongols, and the hunting of animals during the breeding season. He appointed his stepbrother Shikikatug as supreme judge, Jaragachi, ordering him to keep records of the empire. In addition to laws regarding family, food, and the army, Genghis also decreed religious freedom, citation needed, and supported domestic and international trade. He exempted the poor and the clergy from taxation. He also encouraged literacy and the adaptation of the Uyghur script into what would become the Mongolian script of the empire, ordering the Uyghur Tatatanga, who had previously served the Khan of Naimans, to instruct his sons. Push into Central Asia. Genghis quickly came into conflict with the Jin dynasty of the Jurchens and the western Xia of the Tanguts in northern China. He also had to deal with two other powers, Tibet and Kara Kaitai. Before his death, Genghis Khan divided his empire among his sons and immediate family, making the Mongol Empire the joint property of the entire imperial family who, along with the Mongol aristocracy, constituted the ruling class. Genghis Khan arranged for the Chinese Taoist master Qiu Chuji to visit him in Afghanistan, and also gave his subjects the right to religious freedom, citation needed, despite his own shamanistic beliefs. Death of Genghis Khan and expansion under Ogdi, 1227–1241. Genghis Khan died on August 18, 1227, by which time the Mongol Empire ruled from the Pacific Ocean to the Caspian Sea, an empire twice the size of the Roman Empire or the Muslim Caliphate at their height. Genghis named his third son, the charismatic Ogdi, as his heir. According to Mongol tradition, Genghis Khan was buried in a secret location. The regency was originally held by Ogdi's younger brother Talyui until Ogdi's formal election at the Kurultai in 1229. Among his first actions, Ogdi sent troops to subjugate the Bashkirs, Bulgars, and other nations in the Kipchak-controlled steppes. In the east, Ogdi's armies re-established Mongol authority in Manchuria, crushing the Eastern Xia regime and the Water Tatars. In 1230, the Great Khan personally led his army in the campaign against the Jin dynasty of China. Ogdi's general Subutai captured the capital of Emperor Wanyan Shoshu in the siege of Kaifeng in 1232. The Jin dynasty collapsed in 1234 when the Mongols captured Kaizhou, the town to which Wanyan Shoshu had fled. In 1234, three armies commanded by Ogdi's sons Kochu and Khotan and the Tangut general Chagan invaded southern China. With the assistance of the Song dynasty, the Mongols finished off the Jin in 1234. Many Han Chinese and Khitan defected to the Mongols to fight against the Jin. Two Han Chinese leaders, Shi Tianzi, Lu Haima, Lu Ni, and the Khitan Shao Zhela defected and commanded the three Tumans in the Mongol army. Lu Haima and Shi Tianzi served Ogdi Khan. Lu Haima and Shi Tianxiang led armies against western Xia for the Mongols. There were 4 Han Tumans and 3 Khitan Tumans, with each Tuman consisting of 10,000 troops. The Yuan dynasty created a Han army from Jin defectors, and another of Exong troops called the newly submitted army. In the west, Ogedi's general Kormakan destroyed Jalal ad-Din Mingburnu, the last Shah of the Khwarezmian Empire. The small kingdoms in southern Persia voluntarily accepted Mongol supremacy. In East Asia, there were a number of Mongol campaigns into Goryeo-Korea, but Ogedi's attempt to annex the Korean peninsula met with little success. Gojong, the king of Goryeo, surrendered but later revolted and massacred Mongol Daragachis, overseers. He then moved his imperial court from Gaeseong to Ganghwa Island. In 1235, the Mongols established Karakoram as their capital, lasting until 1260. During that period, Ogedi Khan ordered the construction of a palace within the surrounding of its walls.